This is 13 Now. I'm Mark Mulholland. Thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon. Let's talk about three of the big stories we're working on this afternoon, including, of course, the weekend weather. Chief Meteorologist Paul Caiano will join us to help you with your weekend plans, figuring out the best time to get outside. Dan Levy is following a story about violence in Colonie forcing the closing of a longtime gentleman's club there. But we begin with my co-anchor, Sabrina Dami, who is following up today on air quality issues related to those wildfires in Canada. The air is improving, but we're learning that the health concerns linger for some. Sabrina, good afternoon.
Hey, Mark. Good afternoon. So yes, we are seeing, as you can see when you step outside, the sky looks more clear here in the capital region. We're not smelling the smoke as much. So we're at the point where we don't have that air quality alert in place anymore. But the fires are still raging in Canada, and we're still having the impacts of the health concerns here. So we have the latest video from Canada. This is the BC fire in British Columbia, now spreading across about 24,000 acres, one of hundreds of fires that is what has been causing that smoke going in our area. So we'll look at the latest smoke conditions in not just our area, but New York and now the rest of the East Coast. The concerns now more in the Philadelphia area as of today and Washington, D.C., where they're having those toxic smoke concerns there, as we don't have that as much here. However, we did speak with the New York State Acting Health Commissioner today, Dr. James McDonald, and he told us that Wednesday, the day where we had the most severe level of concern, where the air quality was the worst in the world in parts of New York State, they had more people visiting the emergency room Wednesday. And he's also concerned about lingering health concerns. Take a listen to what he had to say.
We also know that there could be some other adverse effects in the next couple of days. We might see more cardiac events. And this is something people need to keep an eye on.
So Dr. James McDonald speaking with us here at News Channel 13, saying people who have health concerns, Mark, may experience cardiac issues. You're already at risk. Even though this period has passed, just the exposure we had could still be a concern.
Yeah, and it's still happening. I've heard from some people who work in the healthcare field who say, yeah, they've had more respiratory related admissions over the past couple of days. So it's an ongoing story still.
Absolutely, right.
Even though the air is clear. Sabrina Dami, thank you. We'll see you.
Mark.
See you live at 4. Dan Levy is following a story for us as well this afternoon that is pretty interesting. We're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But first, I want to talk to Chief Meteorologist Paul Caiano about the weather this afternoon. And Paul, now that the air is clearing out, we want to know when we can get back outside and enjoy some of this June weather. How's it looking today?
Well, the first thing is we need June weather to show up because we haven't had much of that. And it does look like this unsettled pattern is going to continue, Mark. Not that it's going to rain the whole time, but there's certainly opportunities for showers, we like to call it, today, tomorrow a little bit better, and then further improvement on Sunday. But then it looks like we dive back into some unsettled stuff as we get into the early part of next week. I want to show you this outside right now. Let's see if we have Max 2 up. If not, I'll put it on there. No, that's the 7-day. Let's see. I'll get Max 2 up here. And when we get this on here, we'll be able to show you that we have a thunderstorm going on right over Clifton Park. And we'll put that up again, Mark, and you'll be able to see the thunderstorm. There it is. So on the left side of the screen, we're looking north from downtown Albany, and you see that dark cloud there. That's some thunder and lightning and a heavy downpour right over Clifton Park right now. You can see temperatures, meantime, are still on the cool side, 50s where it's raining, 60s elsewhere. It's 68 in Albany, and that's probably the highest we're going to get. Maybe we'll go up another degree or two, but check that out on the first morning live Doppler radar. That storm is moving right over Clifton Park, heading toward Half Moon. It's got a lot of thunder and lightning with it. Not too terribly strong as far as the wind gusts go, but certainly some heavier downpours showing up. And you can see the lightning perhaps diminishing somewhat in the last 15 minutes, but we had a lot of lightning strikes with this particular cell as it rolled through Malta and down the northway to Clifton Park and now on over to Half Moon. The bigger picture will show additional showers and some thunderstorms showing up in the North Country, in portions of the Catskills, in southern Vermont, primarily off the higher terrain, but some of these are drifting into the valleys now as we get into the afternoon. And you can see that sort of flow from northwest to southeast. That's the circulation around that big cutoff storm that's been plaguing us over the last several days. And this thing is just parked over New England. If anything, it's backing closer to us today, which is why we have more numerous showers around. So we'll continue with the unsettled weather this afternoon. I wouldn't go out for too long without the umbrella, because even if you're not getting a shower now, a 1 or 2 showers may be no more than 20, 30 minutes away from you. And then we may get more than one in a specific spot. Notice the action dies out after dark tonight, a bit quieter. Now, Saturday's important. Here's the weekend. It looks like we have a couple of showers popping, but way less than what we've seen over the last few days. So I think we're going to get through most, if not all, of Saturday dry in a lot of our area. And then on Sunday, it actually looks like we'll avoid rain altogether, and things are looking much better for the second half of the weekend. So we'll go with a high in the upper 60s. That's where we are now. Those showers and thunderstorms will be rolling through, some with some heavier downpours, down to 50 tonight. And the 7-day forecast will show that break on Sunday, but then another stalled out system kind of heads in our direction next week with more scattered showers and thunderstorms. At least it looks a little bit milder, but still unsettled as we head through the middle of the week, Mark.
And let me remove the. There we go. Hey, there's Dan Lee. Dan is a story about a gentleman's club in the area, the one in Colonie, that is voluntarily shutting down. It's called the Carlos. It's called the Red Envelope. And Dan spoke to the owner today about what's behind this closing. Dan?
Well, that's right. Yeah, the Red Envelope has been running since about January. It's been up and running for 6 months, and as you mentioned, long before that, decades ago, Sal DiCarlo opened it. So there have been many incarnations of a gentleman's club at that site, and everything was going fine for Richard Snowden until about a month ago, when there were a couple of episodes of violence outside in the parking lot and in the neighborhood close by. There were some shootings. So I think the interesting thing about this story, Mark, is that the Red Envelope was not under any pressure from the town of Colonie or from the state liquor authority to shut down. Richard Snowden pulled the plug on his own business because he told me he didn't want to put his employees in any jeopardy. He didn't want to put his patrons in any jeopardy either. And he said he wants people to sleep with a clear conscience. He doesn't want to be responsible for anything escalating and becoming more violent than he's seen. Also interesting to point out that Richard Snowden came out of retirement, moved back to the capital region to run this club. He has run gentlemen's clubs, stripper joints all across the country for the last 43 years. And I asked him if he has seen anything like is happening here in Colonie, any of the other places. And here's how that. Have you seen any violence like what you've seen here in any of those other locations?
No, but in all fairness, that was a different America. I retired 13 years ago and came out of retirement to take over what was once the fabled DeCarlos. And I did not take into account how society has changed in those 13 years. I won't go through the litany, the list of things, but we all know what they are.
I did speak with police, and police tell me that they applaud the decision he made. They tell me it's a remarkable decision. This is Lieutenant Dan Bellis of Colonie Police, who speaks for that department. He said, Mr. Snowden has been nothing but cooperative with police. He invested a lot of money in a security system. He spent 12 grand there. Now, Snowden told me that he did this because he wanted to protect his employees and his patrons, but there was also a financial hit that he took. After the spate of violence in early May, he says he lost $20,000 in business. So he took a hit. He said he's ready to go back into retirement.
All right. Dan Levy, thank you very much. And you'll have more on this story beginning live at 4. And for News Channel 13 now. Please join us live at 4 or after the French Open tennis on News Channel 13, whichever comes first. Until then, please like and subscribe. This is 13 Now. I'm Mark Mulholland. Have a great weekend.